So another thing I'm going to be doing this year is, I'm going to try and do that today actually, I'm making a vision board. So it's the first time I'm doing anything like this. I'm pretty excited about it. I wasn't sure if it was something that I would like, but when I started putting together the images, so I'm collecting all the images on Pinterest and then I need to kind of print them and then stick them on my board. When I started putting together the images on Pinterest, I was like, actually, this is really, like, it really does give you that kind of motivation for the things that you want throughout your year. Do you know what a vision board is?
Yeah.
What?
It's that. Why are you testing me on it?
I'm not testing, I just want to know what your version of it is, then I know what to tell you.
Shall I give you a summary of what I think a vision board is?
Yeah.
A load of nonsense.
For God's sake. I don't even know how to answer.
Was that right? Is that what a vision board is?
Okay, let me tell you what it is. Because when you say it with such specific, like such a certain way where you're kind of like putting it down at the same time without actually saying anything.
I'm not putting it down.
No,
you asked me if I...
You are, because you don't believe in it. And I'm not saying that you have to believe in it.
I don't believe in it.
I don't even know if I believe in it yet. But what I am saying is I'm going to do it this year, because something else I have thought to myself is that this year I do want to try other things and not be so stuck in my comfort zone. I do want to try different things. And I thought, I am very much like you, but probably not as far as you, where I sometimes will kind of not give things a chance because I think that it's not going to work, right? But what I have thought to myself is this year, I do want to try these things and just see. If it doesn't work, fine, I was right, it won't work. But if it does, then I've learned something new.
You're right, bro, what do you think?
Nico's literally just crawled on top of Bobby. Like, seriously?
You okay?
This is done now.
Oh, you're going to sit here, okay.
So, yeah, I just want to kind of try new things and see how it goes. So that's my way of looking at it, and I think that's a good thing, personally.
No, it's fine.
I don't know whether a vision board will work, but this is what my definition of it is that all these different, we've all got goals and ambitions, and what my aim is to put all of my goals on this vision board. It doesn't mean that I'm putting that pressure on myself where this has to be done this year, but it kind of like, the way that I see it is, every now and again I remind myself, oh, I need to do this because I really would like to reach this goal. And all I'm doing is collecting them all, putting them on a vision board so that it reminds me on a daily basis that, listen, this is what you're trying to work towards. And if it doesn't happen this year, fine. But I do think it's going to be a good mood booster in the sense of keeping you motivated, but we'll see how it goes.
That's fair enough. You go ahead and try it, but like, I like listening to interviews, you know, a lot of like entrepreneurs, you know, people who I find inspirational.
Yeah.
And not once have I ever heard, like, you know, the interviewer say, oh, how is it that you've got so far in life, and like them turn around and say, oh, do you know what? I'll tell you what I did. Set up a mood board.
Firstly, it's not a mood board. That's very different. Secondly, it's a vision board.
Whatever.
And thirdly, I never said that is the secret or the answer to every entrepreneur, successful entrepreneur.
I'm not saying that you are, but this is why I'm saying that I don't believe this stuff, right? Because I've not once have I ever heard someone say, oh, you've done great in life. Your business is massive. You know, you turn over millions. How did you do it? Oh, yeah, set up a vision board. That's what it was.
Yeah, that's not why I'm doing it. I don't think that's going to make me...
No, but I'm not saying you are, but
Yeah.
I have seen, there's a book out there, a famous book, right? You got me to start reading that once. I read it, I was like, what a load of nonsense this is.
What?
The Secret, or whatever it's called.
That's absolute rubbish, I think, personally.
Right. But at the time, you thought it was, like, legit.
Yeah, because at the time, I hadn't read for so long, because I used to read so much when I was much younger, and I went through so many years of not reading for so long, and then that book came up, and I think it was just kind of more of a trend, and I read it, and I was like, okay, I understand where it's going with with the narrative, but
Listen, right,
there's a lot more that goes into, it's not just sitting there thinking, I think this and it's going to happen.
People believe that.
No, that does not happen.
I know it doesn't.
It isn't, that isn't how it works.
We're on the same page with that.
Yeah.
But I know people who believe this. Manifest it. Ooh, that's all right.
Yeah, but manifesting to me doesn't mean sitting there and thinking something's going to happen and not putting any effort in to make it happen.
The people who put books out there like this, and people are like, oh yeah, that's how it works then. And
Yeah,
I've seen other people. I've heard it, and I keep my mouth shut. You know, like at dinners and stuff. Oh yeah, you know, you should manifest. I put it out into the universe. Stupid. Like you were telling me to put something out in the universe like that. Oh, do you really want that? You know what you should do? Really, you should manifest it.
No, I don't think that's the answer.
No, but people say that. Oh,
Yeah.
do you know what? If you really want it, you should manifest it. Put it out there. Carry on with your life, will you? That's what I feel like saying to them.
I believe that thinking these thoughts are good for you,
Can I tell you?
but you have to back it up with effort. You have to get up and do something about it.
I'll tell you the worst thing I've ever seen.
What?
Somebody, I'm not going to say who it is, but I've seen somebody write themselves out a cheque for £1 million and put that up. And I saw it, I was like, what's that?
Who have you seen do this?
I'm not going to say it.
Tell me who did it. I'll beep it out. No way. No way. That was like, that's not even recent. I kind of
No.
understand that level of ridiculous.
Right? Yeah. I was like, what's this? I was like, who's written that out? And she's like, oh, I've written it out to myself. I was like, right. I go, so you're going to go and... I said, firstly, don't cash that because it's going to bounce.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you now you ain't got that much money in your account.
Yeah.
And number two, why are you writing yourself a cheque out? That's you paying yourself.
Yeah.
I said, do you know what's going to happen with that cheque? The money's going to come out of your account and go back into it. I was like, you haven't really thought this through, have you? Just writing yourself out a cheque.
Okay.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Right, anyway. But yeah, this is what I mean, like, this is a level of, like, nonsense.
I feel like whatever floats your boat, go for it, right? For me, that kind of stuff doesn't work. I feel like I have to physically do stuff to make things happen. Like I can't just sit back expecting things to happen. I just don't believe that that's going to happen.
Or like a majority of the world.
Yeah, you have to get up and do things.
Of course you do.
I think you also, you also need to, and this is where I also have realised over time that sometimes when people say, oh, manifest it, I have to pull myself back for a minute and think that, okay, this person might not mean it in the way of just sit there, put it out and expect it to happen. Some people truly understand the meaning of manifesting, which is not just thinking it. It's about going away, thinking those positive thoughts, but also doing what you need to do to make it happen. Do you know what I mean? That is what's really going to make it happen. But then you'll get people like you're talking about, which don't actually do the work, but they think just thinking it means it's going to happen. So I've had to kind of really figure out, like, when people say this, and I've come across people like, okay, is this person saying this because they believe that they need to do the work as well? Or are they saying it because they just believe just by saying it, it's going to happen? And it's really hard to figure that out because I don't want to like on people saying it, thinking they all just are the ones thinking that it's going to happen because they're thinking it. So there are people who genuinely do believe that you have to do the work.
Yeah, but then, okay, so then why don't you just say, okay, do you know what, if you work hard enough, you'll get it.
I guess it's just it's become a buzzword, hasn't it? It's become like something that people just have a label for it now. That's why I have to figure out, like, are you someone who believes that just by thinking it out loud it's going to happen? Or
the harder you work, I've always said this, the harder you work, the luckier you get, right? And I'm not saying, like, I know there's people who work hard, right, and are in certain professions that the work is very hard, but they'll never make, like a massive living out of it because of the living, whatever they do for a living, right? So for example, labourers, right? So like, especially like in this country, you see these labourers, they work really hard on building sites, but unfortunately because of the job that they've got, they're not really going to amass a huge amount of wealth. But for them, they are, right? So they're building their homes back in their home countries. Like I've spoken to some of the labourers here, and they're like, yeah, I've like our security guard downstairs.
It's relative, isn't it,
right?
to their...
And they're like, even like look at our maid.
Yeah.
Right? She's like, oh yeah, I'm building a kitchen back home.
Yeah.
Right? So, like every little helps for them, people like that. So they, For them, they are amassing wealth in whichever way they're doing it, but they're working hard for it, right? So they like, and this is what I mean, that no matter what you do, if you're working hard, you'll get where you want to get to. Just keep consistent.
I do get what you're saying. I think ultimately, look,
Emails aren't going to send themselves. Meetings aren't going to take place by themselves.
you got to make things happen.
Right? Correct. So you've got to go out there and make things happen. This podcast ain't going to record itself, is it?
I think that's just another extreme though, isn't it? Like I really, when I hear people saying it, I kind of think to myself, I really hope you are not relying fully on just saying it. Do you know what I mean? I really hope that you're actually going away and doing something about it. But I have realised the more people I've met, the more I've realised that some people really find it difficult to actually do things, to actually get into, like, they have the dreams, but they're too scared to even start.
So that, I think, it's two things. One is either lack of confidence,
Yeah.
right, or is laziness,
Yeah.
right? So for me, here's an example. Doing this podcast, it was a lack of confidence.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I don't want to be in front of a camera. I just didn't have the confidence to sit here and talk. I might have the opinions, I might have whatever, right? But I can't. It was a struggle for me to sit in front of the camera and do that.
Yeah.
And that I get, because you can work on that. You know, your confidence, build your confidence up. It's the laziness that I can't handle.
Yeah.
You know, sit there with all these dreams. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Get up at like 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
You're getting up at midday. What are you doing? You got your 9 to 5. When do you expect to build your side hustle? When you're not working your 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So come home in the evening and get on with it. Do it on the weekends. Put a bit of effort in. So it's the lazy people that I really have no time for.
Yeah.
And finally, they're the haters as well.
Yeah, that's usually because they're lacking what they see in other people.
I've never seen anyone complain or hate
Yeah.
that's another saying, nobody will ever hate on you if they're doing more than you.
Yeah.
It's always the ones who are doing less than you that hate on you.
Yeah.
Well,
True.
And this was an unpopular, somebody said this as well, didn't they? And got slammed for it, so I'll say it. But
What?
I agree. We all have the same 24 hours in a day.
We do all have the same 24 hours, but circumstances are different for people.
Correct.
Because let me put this out there. You're saying we all have the same 24 hours, which I agree we do. But my 24 hours are going to be very different to a labourer who's working on a building site right now across the road.
Correct.
His 24 hours.
I get that.
So that is where people had this uproar about that, because they were like, hold on a minute. And it's normally the people who don't have those, whose 24 hours are not the same as what your 24 hours would be.
Look, I totally agree, right? I still believe that we all have 24 hours in a day. The same 24 hours, which is a fact, right?
Yeah.
We all have 24 hours, we all have 7 days, we all have 365 days a year, right? 366 in a leap year. I get all of that. My point is, unfortunately, if you're a labourer, right, and you're working, instead of 8 hours a day, you're working 15 hours a day, the rest of your time is therefore sleeping, eating, and surviving. I completely understand, right? My point is, we still have the same 24 hours in a day. Like, he doesn't have any more hours than I have. I don't have any more hours than he has.
Yeah.
Right? So we still have the same 24 hours. Unfortunately for him, he's in a profession which consumes 15 of his hours, which therefore only leaves him a few hours, which he is going to struggle. Right? And I get that. What I'm saying is, the people who are doing their 9 to 5s, right? We have the same 24 hours. You have a lot more free time than I probably do, right? Because you just go to work and you just come home.
See, I think people like that, what annoys them when they hear statements like that is things like, yeah, but I have kids, or yeah, but I have a family to look after. I have to come back from work and then I have to cook and then I have to clean, or, you know, it could be that's consuming
which is fine,
their time.
But in that respect, then are you telling me that anybody who is deemed as a successful individual within their own right doesn't have kids, doesn't have a 9 to 5, doesn't have any other priorities in life? Of course they do. Because everybody has their own priorities. Everybody has their own things that they need to do, right? But I always think it's how important certain things are to you, right? It's the level of importance that you place on something and how you plan it into your day. For example, cycling is important to me. I plan it into my day, right? Which, if that means that I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning so I can ride from 5 till 7, and then get home and then shower and then have my breakfast and then get on with my work from 8 o'clock or 8:30, it's a priority for me, right? If it wasn't, I wouldn't do it, right? And if that means that I go to bed at 9 o'clock, I'll go to bed at 9 o'clock so that I can then get up the next day. So I always think, look, everybody has the same 24 hours, which is a fact. I get within those 24 hours, different people have different jobs, different careers, different, obligations that they've got to fulfill in life, to do with their family, to do with whatever. I get all of that. But it is a fact. We only have 24 hours in a day.
Yeah. If
right?
you look at it in a very black and white way, then what you're saying is factual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So that's my point. So you know, like, if you're a super busy person, you're not going to create any more hours in your day.
Yeah.
But if you're a very lazy person, you aren't going to minimize the hours in your day. Right? So that's just my belief on it. I just think that we all have the same 24 hours. What you do within those 24 hours is what will make the difference.
So when I say that, okay, anyone can do it, I'm kind of saying that more towards people who are procrastinating or just being lazy. Do you know what I mean? Other people, I feel like, who do put in the work, sometimes people work extremely hard and they still don't manage to get to where they would like to be.
I feel bad for those people.
Yeah.
Because I can see you are putting in the effort. You're grafting, you're really, really trying. And unfortunately, we only can play with the cards that we're dealt with in life, right? So some people are naturally born into families where, there's an abundance of wealth and they're going to live a certain type of life. And some people are going to be born, like, when we've been to India, we've seen like little kids in the slums.
Yeah.
Right? Unfortunately, that's the life that they're going to live. Like, I've been to Africa many times and I've seen the orphans, and I get people are dealt a different hand in life, and you can only play with what you've been given. Right? It's the laziness.
Yeah.
And they're the ones who are the haters, and I find they're the ones who always come out with the bullshit manifestation lines. Like, oh, you've got to manifest this.
The ones you mean, just to clarify, the ones who don't really do the work, but just think that by saying it, it's going to happen.
That is going to happen. I know it's going to happen for me this year. Oh, is it? Well, if we carry on doing what you've done in the last 20 years of your life, I can tell you now it ain't going to happen. Like, something's got to change.
Yeah. Yeah, I do agree with you there. So, should we get on with some listener messages?
Yeah. Watch the haters come out on this.
Yeah, I know.
I don't like Bobby anymore.
So, okay. Someone's left this comment on our Best Bits video. Husband and wife should always ask how each other's days are. I know how she feels. I don't know what that... maybe that was to when... Do you remember our first ever podcast? I was like, do you want to ask me how my day was?
No, yeah.
I ask my husband, how was your day at work? Then he would just ignore me. And my response was like, oh, okay, and just smile. That's sad, because Bobby and I do actually on a daily basis ask each other what our day's been like.
I don't know, for that,
Yeah.
right, husband and wife go and do 2 different jobs.
Yeah.
So if we worked in different jobs, if I've just come home from my work and you ask me how my day was, I'll tell you.
Yeah, that's why I feel bad for her.
We work together. Okay, so let's get this straight. So we work together, although we may be sat in different rooms all day.
Yeah.
Right? And you may be doing different things to what I do. So even though we work together, we can sit in different rooms. I sit in my office, you go and sit in your studio, whatever. Therefore, at the end of the day, we'll ask...
We do ask, yeah.
How's your day? Like, what have we been up to? Because we haven't seen each other all day.
Yeah.
But if I'm sat in the same room as you, and I've been to the same meetings as you...
Yeah, if we've been doing things together and working together, which isn't actually often, most of the time we're separate and we do our separate things.
Then I'm not going to ask you how your day was.
Because look, even though we work with one another, he has his role, I have my role. It's not often, unless there, like he said, there are meetings that we are physically together and having that conversation together as well. So we do ask each other how each other's day has been. But I think it's important to ask one another. Okay, so moving on. This is from Karen. Hysterical. How long have you two been married?
11 years this year, isn't it?
Yeah. 11 years, babe.
Is it?
Yeah, it is, because last year was 10 years. No, hold on.
No, it's
Last
12
year was
years.
11.
Yeah, 12 years this year.
Yeah,
We got
you're
married
right.
2013. It's 2025. 12 years this year.
Oh my God, 12 years.
Do you know what I had to do the other day?
What?
Work out how old I was.
Really?
I've got to that point in my life now where it's like, what? Like, we were sat there having a coffee with friends. And they're like, how old are you this year? And I was like, what? I got it completely wrong. I was like, hang on a minute. I need to work this out. And then I told them my age.
So it's always really easy for me because I'm the same as the year we go into.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Because you're born in 80.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I told them, I was like, I'm going to be 46 this year.
Who? Yeah. Your friends?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were like, bloody hell, you're going to be closer to 50 than you are to 40. And I was like, yeah, I know.
I know.
That's crazy. I just cycled 250 kilometres the other day. Never.
That was great. Well done, babe.
Yeah, at this age.
Yeah. That was really good.
Like, I never would have thought. If somebody told me to do that when I was in my 20s, I'd never.
Probably wouldn't, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, 250k in a day.
That's good. Okay, Happy New Year. I look forward to your podcasts each week. The two of you are hysterical, and the snippets were a great reminder of the fun times you shared with us in 2024. I'm looking forward to the 2025 podcast and more of Bobby's candid thoughts and, of course, his language. Thank you for sharing yourselves with us. Hope 2025 brings you health, happiness, and prosperity. Thank you so much, Lynn. That was such a nice message, and we are also extremely excited for this year. I am really excited about where the podcast is going to go and, you know, just what we're going to do with it.
I don't know how it's going to go.
That's what I'm excited about, though.
Yeah, so if someone says to me, are you excited about your podcast and where it's going to go? How do I know it's going to go? So
Yeah, but
I'll
this
tell
is
you
where
how
you
I
are
know.
very black and
No,
white,
so-
babe. Sometimes people are just saying it because
Yeah.
they're like, you don't know what's going to happen. Are you excited to see what's going to happen with it?
I get more excited when I see the results. So I will be consistent, and I'm more excited to see the results and see what happens,
Yeah.
you know, the growth of the channel. But I don't know. We haven't got a plan as to what we're going to be discussing. This is a very kind of, we're doing a podcast, so we'll diarise when we're doing the podcast, but we come and sit down. There's no planning.
Yeah.
There isn't any script.
No,
There's no
of course
topics of
not.
discussion. There's nothing. So it's just one of those things. So
And that will stay that way.
yeah, because I think that's
That's
what
what
I enjoy about the podcast. The minute this becomes structured, and
No.
then I don't rather.
I
do
agree
it.
with you there.
Then it's not fun.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, this is like a couple of hours of just
Yeah.
fun chat.
I agree. So next, this is from Mally. Yes to the live podcast. Nico is so cute, just sitting peacefully. Thanks for reading my comment. I'm in New York, so would definitely love to meet for coffee whenever you guys visit next. Agreed on kids. I don't dislike them, but can't stand the poorly behaved ones, and parents are to blame in most cases. Same, completely agree. And just going on to what Mally said about the live podcast, I know we said that we should do this and it was a great idea, but then I was thinking if it's live, it's going to be at a time which is like not really accessible for people in the US.
No, it can be.
How?
So we'll film it late at night on a Sunday, for example, and then they'll just have to log in on a Sunday morning.
Okay, yeah.
Like LA's 12 hours behind.
So we just have to get the lights and...
Yeah, so we'll just set
Yeah.
up the lights in front.
Okay.
So, like, for example, if we start at 9 o'clock at night,
Yeah,
it's 9 a.m. in LA.
yeah,
I think it's midday in New York.
yeah. Okay, cool. Someone else has put, this is Liz, this podcast was so funny, another great one. You guys need some merch that says, bye babe and high alert. That's actually quite funny. Can you imagine that? Little hoodies. Bye babe. Someone else commented about that as well. They were like, that was great. Say bye babe. Bye babe.
Whose joke is that?
That was mine. I'm the one who said it.
I told you to say bye, babe.
No. What?
Who told who to say bye?
Remember I said to you, I said, bye babe. And you were like, why are you saying bye babe? And I was like, say bye babe.
Oh,
And you were like, say bye babe. Why am I going to say bye babe?
yeah.
And I was like, no. So, I've enjoyed today's podcast, our first podcast of 2025.
Yeah.
Excited to see where this goes this year. Obviously, we're not going to change anything. We are going to just stick to how we do things. Can you just let me finish this podcast, for God's sake? Stop. Right, let me start that.
Babe.
Can you... Babe, seriously? What the f*** is wrong with you? I've told you a million times. It takes me forever to edit if you start doing this stuff.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, this was a great podcast. First podcast of 2025. Have you enjoyed it?
I actually have.
Yeah. Did you miss it? Because it's been a while.
I feel like I've had a lot to say today.
Yeah.
And I still feel like I've got a lot more to say. But you're
Save it till next week, babe.
I know. It's because I've met, over this holiday period, I've met people who've wound me up with stuff that they said, and I'm like, honestly, I should really write this stuff down, but it's just in my head. But yeah, it's been good. I've enjoyed the Christmas break. I've enjoyed New Year's.
Okay, so I think Nico wants us to stop too. He's like looking at us like, guys, call it a day now. Call it a day. So, really good episode for 2025. Excited about what the year is going to bring with the podcast. Hope you enjoyed it today.
Yeah. How did you find it?
I did. I enjoyed it. It's great. And I feel like I do need another one coming up so that, because I've got stuff that I want to talk about too. So guys, hope you enjoyed it today and we're going to catch you next time.
Yeah, enjoy. We're not going out anywhere this afternoon.
Well, we might.
No, you're not.
Okay. Anyway, guys, we'll see you on the next podcast.
Okay, bye guys.
Okay.
Say bye, Nico. Say bye. Bye.